Hey folks, this is Ground Guitar, and today we'll be talking about the 5 most essential guitars used by the legendary Jimi Hendrix. We'll share stories behind them, when and where they were acquired, the history of their mods, and on which iconic songs they can be heard. As always, for a more comprehensive list of guitars, amps, effects, and gear used by Jimi Hendrix, make sure to check out our website, groundguitar.com. The link will be in the description. Number 5. A 1960s Danelectro bronze standard. Jimi Hendrix's first electric guitar is a subject of much debate among rock historians. According to some, his first guitar was a white Supro Ozark, but according to others, it was actually this bronze Danelectro. Based on our research, the story goes something like this. In the late 1950s, a young Jimi Hendrix was just starting his music career. He joined his first band called the Velvetones, but soon realized that his acoustic guitar was not sufficient for his ambitions. To ensure his voice was heard, Jimi sought his father's assistance, so his dad purchased an electric guitar for him, a sleek white Supro Ozark. Empowered by his new instrument, Jimi joined his second band, the Rocking Kings, with whom he used this guitar until late 1959, when an unfortunate incident occurred. While taking a break at Seattle's Birdland Club, he briefly left his prized guitar unattended, only for it to be stolen by some sticky-fingered thief. At this point of the story, Jimi's father stepped in once again and purchased him a bronze-colored Danelectro, marking the beginning of this guitar's journey with Hendrix. But while this is the version of the story that makes the most sense based on all the evidence, Jimi himself, for some reason, remembers things a bit differently. He recalls his first guitar being a Danelectro, so maybe there's more to this story that needs to be revealed. In any case, this Danelectro continued to be a part of Jimi's life story for years to follow. When he joined the Army in 1961, he asked his father to ship the guitar to him, emphasizing in a letter just how much he needed it at the time. The photos from the period also reveal the name Betty Jean inscribed on the lower portion of the guitar's body, a tribute to his girlfriend at the time. Upon his discharge from the Army in July 1962, officially due to an ankle injury, but unofficially, Jimi had problems even earlier due to unruly behavior. Hendrix found himself with $400 to his name and promptly headed to nearby Clarksville. There, he stumbled upon a jazz bar and spent the majority of his money, leaving him with a mere $16. To make matters worse, he had sold his beloved Danelectro guitar to a fellow serviceman. He borrowed the guitar back briefly, just to make some money, but from that point on, the Danelectro basically disappeared from the face of the earth. But recently, the mystery surrounding the fate of Jimi Hendrix's guitar was finally unveiled. According to Jimi's friend, Billy Cox, the guitar ended up in the possession of the owner of the Del Morocco Club in Nashville. It appears that Jimi had pawned the guitar but was unable to retrieve it due to financial constraints. The owner held onto the guitar at his residence for several years. Tragically, his house caught fire, resulting in the loss of both the house and Jimi's guitar. The loss of this guitar is a tragic reminder of the fragility of musical artifacts, and it erased a tangible connection to Jimi Hendrix's early musical journey. Number 4. A 1967 Gibson Flying V. Jimi Hendrix's 1967 Gibson Flying V guitar holds a special place in his iconic collection, considering his preference for Fender Stratocasters. This particular instrument stands out as one of the few exceptions to his Stratocaster-dominated lineup. Jimi began using this guitar around 1967, coinciding with the start of the Monkees tour. He was invited to be the opening act for them in the US, but that collaboration came to an abrupt end on July 14th, when Jimi expressed his frustration by flipping the bird to the less than enthusiastic crowd at Forest Hills Stadium in New York and storming off stage. Based on the timeline of these events, it is likely that Jimi Hendrix purchased his Gibson Flying V guitar in the United States, particularly during his stay in New York City in early July. Manny's Music Shop on West 48th Street was a popular choice for rock stars to find new guitars, making it a potential place where Jimi Hendrix could have obtained his instrument. Following Jimi Hendrix's return to the UK in late August 1967, the Gibson Flying V became one of his primary guitars. It was frequently observed either in use or prominently displayed on stage alongside his white Stratocaster. Several photographic records showcase its presence during significant moments in Jimi's career. Notably, it can be spotted in images captured during the brief European tour in early September 1967, encompassing locations such as Germany and Sweden. Additionally, it is featured in the well-known backstage photos with Jeremy Thorpe at the Royal Festival Hall on September 25th. And it can be seen in footage from the French TV program Dim Dam Dom, filmed around mid-October of that year. The 1967 Gibson Flying V remained in Jimi Hendrix's guitar rotation until the end of 1967 and into early 1968. However, by March 1968, it appears that the guitar was no longer part of his regular lineup. Jimi reverted to playing his beloved Stratocasters as his primary guitars once again. While he did use other Gibsons later on, such as the white SG Custom and left-handed Flying V, this particular guitar holds significance as it was the first humbucker-equipped guitar in his lineup and one of the few he personally decorated. Despite the original finish painted by Jimi Hendrix himself being lost at some point, the guitar has managed to survive and is still in existence today. According to official information, in 1969, Jimi Hendrix gifted the guitar to Mick Cox of the Irish band Heir Apparent. Cox subsequently refinished the guitar in black, removing the original design created by Hendrix. Following this alteration, the guitar passed through several owners before ultimately finding its way into the possession of David Brewis, the founder of Rockstar's Guitars. Recognizing the significance and worth of the guitar, Brewis made the decision to enlist the services of a professional artist to repaint it in the exact manner Jimi Hendrix had done previously. This deliberate choice aimed to restore the guitar to its original state, paying homage to Jimi's artistic vision and preserving its historical authenticity. Number 3. A 1964 Fender Stratocaster Linda. In September 1966, Jimi Hendrix arrived in the UK, unknowingly igniting a spark that would soon turn into an explosive revolution in the world of rock music. With him, he brought just one guitar, a white 1964 Fender Stratocaster. As Jimi had not obtained a work permit in advance, it is believed that someone else, possibly Chaz Chandler, brought the guitar on his behalf. But this wasn't just any guitar. Rumor has it, it once belonged to another guitar legend, Keith Richards. According to Linda Keith, Richards' girlfriend, she borrowed the guitar from Richards and lent it to Jimi. Jimi's girlfriend, Kathy Etchingham, also partially supports this account. In her book, Through Gypsy Eyes, she recounts an incident that happened in a hotel room where she and Jimi were staying. According to her, one night Linda stormed in, took the white Stratocaster, and left without any explanation. Fortunately, Jimi resolved the situation with Linda the next day and got the guitar back. And he told Kathy that the guitar was a gift from Linda. But there were rumors even at that time that it originally belonged to Keith Richards. In any case, this Stratocaster became Jimi's sole instrument during his early performances in London, and even during his French tour from October 13th to 18, 1966. The guitar was also most likely used on October 23rd at London's Delane Lee Studios, where Hendrix and his new band, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, recorded their rendition of Hey Joe. Following this, the same guitar was prominently featured at several of Hendrix's performances. These included gigs at the Big Apple Club in Germany in early November and the Bag O' Nails pub in London later the same month. It's particularly important to note that after taping a segment for the Ready Steady Go TV show on December 13th, Hendrix quickly recorded a series of hits at the CBS studios, including Foxy Lady, Can You See Me, Love or Confusion, Third Stone from the Sun, and Red House. It's highly likely that he used the very same white Stratocaster for these sessions. However, by March 1967, Hendrix switched to a sunburst Stratocaster, and the white guitar he had brought with him was suddenly nowhere to be seen. The last known appearance of the white Stratocaster was on February 22, 1967, during a gig at the Roundhouse in London. There's a rumor that one of Jimi's guitars was reported stolen after that concert, so it could have been the white Strat, which would explain its disappearance. Whatever the truth may be, this marks the end of the Linda Stratocaster. The fate of this guitar remains a mystery, and its whereabouts remain unknown to this day. There has been almost a surge of white Stratocasters recently linked to the name Linda, like the one used by John Frusciante of Red Hot Chili Peppers in their 2022 tour. However, based on certain details, it is unlikely that this particular guitar is the original Linda guitar. So, Unless a suitable contender emerges unexpectedly, the Linda guitar, which is arguably Hendrix's most significant instrument, is deemed lost forever. Number 2. A 1968 Fender Stratocaster, the Woodstock Strat. Jimi Hendrix's 1968 Fender Stratocaster is undoubtedly one of his most recognizable guitars. He had acquired this particular guitar around October 1968, together with another black Stratocaster, and first showcased it on November 1st at the Municipal Auditorium Arena in Kansas. From that moment on, and until the end of his remarkable journey, it became a tale of two guitars for Hendrix, the white Stratocaster or the black Stratocaster, both serving as his faithful companions on his musical odyssey. But the primary reason for this guitar's iconic status is that it played a pivotal role at the iconic Woodstock Festival. The Woodstock Festival, held in August 1969, remains one of the most iconic events in music history. 500,000 people gathered in a field in Bethel, New York, to witness a 3-day celebration of peace, love, and rock and roll. It was a cultural phenomenon that defined a generation, showcasing legendary performances by artists like Janis Joplin, The Who, and Santana. However, it was Jimi Hendrix's electrifying set that became the defining moment of Woodstock. With his incendiary guitar playing and mesmerizing performance, Hendrix transcended the boundaries of music and became a symbol of counterculture rebellion, leaving an indelible impact on the hearts and minds of those who witnessed his performance. His presence at Woodstock, with this exact guitar in his hands, forever cemented his status as a guitar virtuoso and an influential figure in the annals of music history. But Jimi Hendrix's cherished white Stratocaster remained his main instrument long after the legendary Woodstock performance. It accompanied him through various concerts, even making an appearance at his final live show on the Isle of Fehmarn in Germany in September 1970. But following that memorable performance, Hendrix made a significant decision. He chose to give the instrument to his ever-faithful drummer, Mitch Mitchell. Mitchell fondly recalled the circumstances surrounding his acquisition of the guitar. He shared that he had given Jimi a drum kit as a present, and jokingly said that he would like to have Jimi's guitar before he breaks it. True to his character, Jimi replied with a simple, "You got it," and handed Mitch his beloved white Woodstock Stratocaster. After Jimi Hendrix's passing, Mitchell held on to the iconic guitar for 2 decades. However, in 1990, he made the difficult decision to part ways with it, leading to an auction organized by Sotheby's. The guitar garnered a lot of attention and was ultimately acquired by Gabriele Anzalone, aka Red Ronnie, an Italian radio and TV host, for at that time an astronomical sum of 198,000 English pounds. The guitar's next custodian was none other than Microsoft co-founder, the late Paul Allen, who purchased it for an undisclosed amount, rumored to be in the range of a staggering $2 million or more. Allen, recognizing the instrument's immense historical significance, resolved to house it in the Experience Music Project, now renamed to Museum of Pop Culture, a prestigious museum he had established in Seattle, Washington. This museum was dedicated to celebrating the legacy of Jimi Hendrix and the broader history of rock and roll, making it the perfect home for such a treasured artifact. Number 1. A 1968 Fender Stratocaster Black Beauty. Hendrix began using this guitar in October 1968, along with his white Woodstock Strat. However, the black Strat actually came first chronologically, and it marked a transition for Hendrix from rosewood to maple fretboard Stratocasters. Prior to this, Hendrix pretty much only used second-hand early to mid-60s Strats, which were all typically equipped with rosewood fretboards. The black Strat made its debut on stage at the Civic Auditorium in Bakersfield, California on October 26, 1968. This happened during a break between recording sessions at the TTG Studios in Los Angeles. Based on the photos captured there by Ron Raffaelli, it's evident that Hendrix also used the black Strat for the recording. There were a number of songs that came out of these sessions, but unfortunately, none of them were released during Hendrix's lifetime. From then on, the black Strat was seen most notably on the TV show A Happening for Lulu in January 1969, Royal Albert Hall in February, Madison Square Garden in New York in May, Fillmore East in December, and Atlanta Pop Festival in July 1970, just to name a few. To cut the long story short, from late 1968 and all the way to Jimi's last gig in September 1970, It was either this black Stratocaster or the white one, aside from a few rare occasions when he picked up something else. This makes the black Strat one of his most extensively used guitars. Interesting to note is that looking at the photos of this guitar from a chronological standpoint, one can notice the slow increase of the burn marks on the headstock. It appears that in 1968, Hendrix began placing cigars between the strings and the headstock while playing. Often forgotten, these cigars would burn down to the filter, leaving behind distinct burn marks on the headstock. The black Strat was used by Hendrix until his final live performance at the Isle of Fehmarn on September 6, 1970. During the concert, he was primarily seen playing his white Woodstock Strat, but there are photographs of him playing the black one too. It is also widely believed that the black Strat was the last guitar Hendrix ever touched with his hands. In a series of photographs taken by Monica Dannemann at the Samarkand Hotel on September 17, 1970, the day before his passing, Hendrix is seen sitting outside enjoying a cup of tea while holding his black Stratocaster in his hands. This poignant series of images have contributed to the belief that the black Strat held a special place in his heart and was likely his favorite in his collection. After Jimmy passed away, the guitar remained with Monica, his girlfriend at the time, and the person with whom he spent his last hours, and the Strat stayed in her possession until her death in 1996. At that time, she was married to Uli Jan Roth of the Scorpions, and many people assume that Jimmy's guitar is now with Roth. However, in an interview with the Metal Voice, Uli explained that the guitar now belongs to the Dannemann's estate, and that there are still absolutely no plans to sell it. The decision of the Dannemann family to hold on to the black Strat and their reluctance to sell it is a personal and understandable choice. This guitar holds immense sentimental value, as it was one of Jimi Hendrix's most cherished instruments. While some might argue that it should be kept in a museum somewhere, or that it should be played, like any other guitar, it's perhaps just good enough for now to know that the guitar is safe and still out there somewhere. So there you have it, our top 5 list of the most important guitars used by the legendary Jimi Hendrix. There are still a few important guitars that we did not mention, but separate videos on some of those will come in the future. If you're a fan of Jimi Hendrix or just love guitar history, be sure to smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content about iconic guitars. For more in-depth information and exclusive content, head on over to groundguitar.com, where we have a treasure trove of guitar history and stories, and be sure to check other content creators like Keith from 5 Watt World for similar themed content. Thanks for watching.